overcoming childhood bullying as an adult. When things happen to us when we're younger, not even just like little kid, high school, college, whatever, when we are treated poorly and we're the victim of bullies, it changes our thought processes. It changes the patterns in our brains, and it can lead us to some not productive thought activity as adults. So we need to focus on overcoming that bullying. And I have a 10-step process, and I know 10's a lot of steps, but this is a really important process, a 10-step process for you to overcome any abuse that you have undergone throughout your life. Now, one big question that people ask me is, what's the difference between somebody just being mean and somebody bullying? My opinion is the same as several different psychiatrists and psychologists who I've asked, and that is zero. There is no difference between intentional unkindness and bullying. It is mean behavior intended to either harm or alter a person's actions, reactions, things like that. So if you have been treated with intentional, pointed, targeted unkindness or bullying or whatever at any point in your life, stick around, get a pen, get some paper, get ready to take some notes, because I'm going to give you very quickly this 10-step process that you can start today so that you can head down the road to healing. First, I'd like you to check and see if you're a subscriber here. And if not, please become one by clicking the subscribe button and the little bell so that you'll get notifications when we drop videos like this to help you live a happier, more holistic, and fulfilling life. I'll be right back.
GILD Coaching. More success, less stress.
When you're the victim of bullying, you may start to believe that maybe you deserve it. Maybe there's something that you did that brought this behavior on yourself. Maybe you even believe that there's something wrong with you. And a lot of people who are the victims of bullies believe that there's really nothing that they can do about it, but they would be wrong. There are things that you can do about it, and it has to start with you. It doesn't mean that it starts and ends with you. It means that it starts with you. So I promised you a 10-step process, and I'm going to launch right into it. The first step is you have to acknowledge the past. Acknowledge the past without blinders on. Look at what really happened. The truth is, when someone is unkind to you, it means and it shows that there's something wrong with them, not you. Even if you have offended someone, you've done something that hurt someone in some way, when their response is with unkindness, that is a bullying action. So even if there's something that you did that spawned this, they're perpetuating it isn't your fault. So you have to look at the past. You have to look at what's happened with the lens of my behavior is my behavior and their behavior is their behavior. And I don't have to own all of that crap that they threw at me. Okay, so step number one, acknowledge the past and do so fairly. You have to separate yourself a little bit from actually what happened and look at it through a third-party lens, like as though you're watching it on a movie screen. If you're watching this scene and you're not the victim, somebody else is the victim. If you're watching this scene as a third party, who do you see that's wrong here? And this isn't so much about assigning blame to the other person as clearing yourself of any blame or wrongdoing here. Okay, so step number one, acknowledge the past. Step number two, you have to first prioritize your health. This is not a fast process, so you have to be patient, and I'll get to that a little bit more later, but you have to prioritize your health. There are lots of things that people usually neglect, or there's things that are going wrong with their health that slows the healing process here. Take a look at this. Victims of bullying undergo a lot of abuse, and that can cause high anxiety. It can cause them to develop eating disorders, headaches, insomnia, and these aren't things that they experience just while the bullying's going on. These are things that can plague them through their entire life. Post-traumatic stress disorder, you may have heard of PTSD, that's the long way to write it, that stays with you. And stress conditions, high stress impacts health. Stress is actually the #1 cause of disease. So if you have been bullied, you owe it to yourself and your long-term health to heal from it, and as soon as possible. Ask your doctor about any of these symptoms. Ask what they can do to help you overcome this. And you're more than welcome to reach out to us at GILD, and we're happy to help you as well. Step number 3, reclaim your control in adulthood. Feelings of powerlessness and helplessness, they do carry over. They carry through the rest of your life if you don't really focus and take care of them. And you run the risk of living your life as a perpetual victim, and you're better than that. Realize that while we can't control everything, we can't control what happened, we can't go back and change the past, we can control our responses. Start your recovery by taking control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It's also very, very important to own your reactions. Just because something terrible happened to you doesn't mean that you should react poorly. You need to own your actions and make healthy choices. And actions include reactions. Okay, step number 4, you have to recognize your value. And this is where a lot of bullying victims kind of fail, honestly, for lack of a better term. But remember, I've always taught this, FAIL stands for F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. So failing the first time, just fail forward and give it another try. You have to recognize your worth. You have value. Your life has value. Your work has value. Your thoughts have value. And one really, really phenomenal way to recognize your value is through daily affirmations. If you don't know where to start with affirmations, reach out to us, make a comment, say, what are you talking about? Affirmations. I'm happy to help you. There's a full playlist here with a lot of different affirmations about self-confidence, owning your authentic self, honoring yourself, things of that nature, self-love. So recognize your value. You are here for a reason. You are here in this space and time for a reason. You bring value to my world, so thank you for being part of it. Recognize your value actively every single day. All right, one of the biggest mistakes that people who have been bullied make that hurts them psychologically is they isolate themselves. Do not isolate yourself. When you're isolated, some of those negative thoughts that exist in your head because of the abuse that you've been through start to churn. And the more they churn, the bigger they become. And that can drive you into depression. It can cause a whole host of problems. So get out in the world. If you say, I don't know people to be around, go out to a park. Go somewhere where maybe find a group with similar interests as you. If you enjoy playing different games, I know my husband and I like to go play pickleball. We've met tons of different people playing pickleball. Go out, get out in the world with something. You like to shop? Fine. Go shopping, talk to people, interact with people, avoid isolation. The more that you can be around people who treat you well, the less the bully's impact really stays with you. Because bullies really just focus and target on someone to make themselves more powerful than the other person. And after the bullying is done, years later, it's still having an impact on you. That bully may not even remember that they did that. May not even realize that they did that. But you're sitting here wondering or telling yourself that you deserved it or you're not worth it or whatever. So own your value, like I said, but also get out there with people who are kind, people who deserve the privilege of your company. I'm going to say that again. Get out there and be around people who deserve the privilege of your company, because you are special and you have so much to share. So get out there and share it. This next step, step number 6, is very, very important. This will be your turning point. Seek support. Get a support group, get a coach, get a counselor, get moving with this energy. Energy that's stagnant, like if you're just sitting there with it, it's just going to fester. Think about leaving food out for days and days. It just gets gross and worse and worse and worse. But if you move it, you're going to clean that trash out of your life. You need a support system. It's part of what we do here at GILD. If you would like to reach out to us to be part of your support system, we are here for you. You can email me directly anytime. My email address is Jane, Jane, at gildcoaching.com. That's GILD coaching.com. You can reach out directly to me. Coach Kendra specializes in abuse recovery. She's Kendra at gildcoaching.com. Reach out to one of us and say, hey, I'm the victim of bullying. I need more help. I saw this video and help me. You told me to seek support, so support me, and we will. We will be here for you. All right, number 7. And this is where that seeking support kind of grows a little bit and gets fun. Get a focus on your own personal growth. There is nothing to get you out of a situation than looking for ways that you can grow. I always say, don't go through something, grow through something. So check out ways to expand your personal growth. What does that mean? Learn something new. Become involved in a group that does something that you already know how to do. If you like to garden, great, find a gardening group. There's a great botanic garden here. There's also, in the town where I live, there's also this wonderful art museum with all these gorgeous gardens. And both of those places have guilds of people who come together and they help to tend the gardens. It's phenomenal. And all these people are now friends with each other. They're focused on their own personal growth by participating. You can do personal growth programs. You can work with a coach. What I do most is take people through personal growth programs. So focus on your personal growth. What does personal growth mean? It means anything to help you expand or increase your skill, your talent, take on a new hobby, work on your mindset, again with a coach or a counselor. Personal growth focus will help everything. All right, I think we're on number 8. Don't think I've lost count. Reprogram your thoughts. A few steps ago, I told you to know your value, and then I suggested that maybe you check out our playlist for recorded sessions, affirmations, and that sort of thing. The way that you reprogram your mind is through those affirmations. Affirmations, meditations, reprogram yourself so that you literally stop thinking about what happened to you before. You've recognized it, you've accepted it, you've noticed, if I was at fault, here's where I'm at fault, to inform you not doing that again. But you're probably not at fault because bullies, anyway, don't need a reason to be bullies. But reprogram yourself so that your thoughts start going in a different way. Another great way, other than the affirmations, another great way to start reprogramming your mind is to journal. Get a gratitude journal and journal just one thing that you're grateful for every single day. That starts to change your mind. Now, this is a gradual process. Writing down one point that you're grateful for doesn't mean you're going to go like, skipping through a field of daisies and everything's going to be puppies and rainbows immediately. Give it time. Give it a month. Give it 2 months. It will slowly start. It feels so good that you're going to want to do it more, and it'll slowly start to reshape your mind, reshape your thought processes. All right, number 9, you have to detach from the situation and move ahead. So the first step was to acknowledge your past. This part is acknowledging that it is the past. It can stay there. Something unique happens in us when we have a memory. The other day, I was on a walk with my dogs and the wind blew, and all of a sudden, my head, my nostrils were filled with the smell of honeysuckle, and I was immediately taken back to being 6 years old at this farm in Mississippi where I was raised, and just wonderful just by the smell of honeysuckle. Okay? I attached to being 6 years old. That completely changed my energy. I was full of just light and love, and I just had a smile ear to ear. Actually, a few minutes later, somebody was like, well, you sure do have a lovely smile today? Somebody else who was out walking, and I was like, thank you, there's honeysuckle back there. But honeysuckle is a very, very emotional, nostalgic smell for me, so it brought me back to that moment. So when we remember something from the past, I just gave you an example of remembering something positive, and so it brought all of that happy energy from little 6-year-old Jane. It brought all that happy energy to me in this moment, much older than 6, right? The same thing happens when you go and you focus on a negative moment. It brings all that negative energy from the past and puts it right here in your present. Stop. Stop doing it. After you've done that first step and you've acknowledged it and you've looked at it and you're like, I'm not to blame for this and this person was wrong. And you can do a forgiving process if you want to. That would be super healthy for you, because forgiveness is the gift that you give yourself, not the other person. But then detach from it. Detach and move on. And number 10, I saved the most difficult, at least the most difficult for me, the most difficult step for last. Be patient. You have had these patterns for years, and they are not going to go away overnight. And that is fine. And you may get better, and then all of a sudden you have some sort of a relapse where it affects you again. It doesn't mean that it didn't work. It meant that you're moving forward, and instead of plaguing you all the time, it just plagues you a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Not as much as it used to. Okay? Be patient with yourself. I would love to help guide you through this. If you'd like some personal attention, I already gave you my email address, so reach out to me. And other than that, that's what I have for you today. 10 steps to overcome the adult remnants of childhood bullying. If this video has been of help to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't already the first time I asked, hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you'll be a subscriber here and you'll get notifications the next time that we drop a video like this to help you live a happier and healthier life. See you soon.